do not move an ancient boundary stone set up by your ancestors. This proverb is a warning against tampering with established property lines and the importance of respecting what has been passed down through generations. You see, in the society where this rule was first given, it was an agrarian economy. And when the Lord took them to the promised land, he gave them specific instruction on how to share the land between the tribes and between families, between household, between head of household, because the land becomes their means of survival. And then he said that there are boundaries that have been set up. You can call it landmarks. You can call it a pillar that demarcates the land apportioned to Mr. A from that of Mr. B. And he said this landmark that separates one from another, don't tamper with it. You see, the whole idea is when they go in and they move the pillar, practically they are stealing from the neighbor's land to their land. You know, people die in some countries where they start to steal other people's land to add to their land and say, where's the boundary line? It's here. No, it's been moved. The Bible was strict and firm about such behavior. And if you go to the book of Deuteronomy 19, verse 14, and Deuteronomy 27 and 17, the Lord was strong about people transgressing into other people's property line. It said that you must not move your neighbor's boundary markers. And verse 17 of chapter 27 say, cursed be he who moved, because God is not playing. It stands to maintain respect and integrity. What you won't like anyone to move your boundary line and cut you of your inheritance, you don't do to other people. The Bible says, cursed is he that moves. But you see, this is the idea. It suggests the importance of honoring the legacy and teaching that's been passed down through time. If you see the verse 28 of chapter 22 of the book of Proverbs, it said that has been passed down from ancestors. So, if we look at it as a religion, there is a song that said that the people coming with new age religion. And some people say, no, the old-time religion is good enough for me. It was good for Paul and Silas. When he created it, he said, when they start to talk all about this kind of blend of relationship and marriages between man and man, between women and women, and say, hey, in the beginning, it was not so. In the beginning, God created them, man and woman. And he said, for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and live and cleave, and the two shall become one. That was what was passed down from the ancient time. That is what he said, do not move the pillar and the boundaries that's been set from. I forgot it's been the interpreting it, so I start to get ahead of myself. I'm going to give them time to catch up. So in Jude chapter 1:3, it's talking, it's laying emphasis on that what that's been passed down from generation to you. It says you should contend. So this is what it says in Jude 1:3. Beloved, although I have made every effort to write to you about the salvation we share, I felt it necessary to write and urge you to contend earnestly for the faith entrusted once for all the saints. Contend. So that which been passed down from generation, that which been set down, that that's become tradition, that's been coming from the ancestors. It says, stand firm and contend earnestly for it. So what are these things? When we say boundaries, there is an implication, there is spiritual implication, there is another meaning, not another meaning, there is expansion of what it means. In essence, Proverbs 22 verse 28 calls for integrity, respect for what has been established, and faithfulness to God's principles, both in the literal and the figurative senses. I'm trying to take a swap now to come into another level so you can please get it and understand. I'm not going to stay long, but what you get now is yours. I want attention. I'm addressing this. I'm addressing the church, but at the same time, more particularly, I'm addressing this. I'm sending this message to the men. Men need to understand. Men need to come in grasp and understand, really. It said, understand what you are reading. How do I understand Ethiopia? Except somebody. That's why somebody, by the grace of God, is going to break open Proverbs 22:28, and if you see it, catch it in. Hold it. Because the things of God is not just by hearing, it's by catching. Boundaries become very important in any kind of relationship. In any kind of relationship, boundaries is important. Number one, it will ensure your safety. It will keep your integrity. It will give you your own time. It will make you to be a person of substance. Now, boundaries, when it is set, it should not be meddled with. It should not be moved back. In the landmark that we're talking about, if somebody come and want to rob you, you move your land boundary so they can encroach into your land and kind of steal from you that which is rightfully yours. And so when they're trying to settle a property division, they go to the boundary line. This is your line. And when somebody comes to encroach into it, you quickly can raise an alarm. But what if we don't keep boundaries? Now this is to the men. I want the man to listen. If there is a man here that is in the other section, will you tap the man to come back into this section? Somebody do that for me quickly. Thank you, Sister Tosi. Because men must hear. What did the Lord say to Joshua? He said to Joshua, this book of the law shall not depart. Is that tradition that is there some instruction that was passed down from God? This book of the law shall not depart from your mouth. You shall meditate upon it day and night, that you be careful to do all that is written in it. Is that what it says? But then it said concerning you teaching you have the duty, responsibility as a father. Let me just say again, because last week was Father's Day, but the church decided to push it for this week because I was not in the country last week. So when I'm saying Father's Day, you say, oh, that was last day. It is as Father's Day today. And he said to Joshua, he said, this book of the law, you shall teach it to your children when they are at table. Tie it around their head. Make it as a bracelet. In every way, soak them in the word. For this has the power and authority to sustain them in time of trouble. Now, what happens if a man, for whatever reason, decides to compromise and sacrifice integrity on the altar of relationship? Ahab did that. Somebody last week said that this man asked the hand of the woman in marriage. And the woman said, yes, I will marry you. And the man said, wait a minute, let me just make something clear now. There is only one place at the very top of my heart and life. And that one place is for just one person. And that person is not you. And that is, he said, what are you talking about? He said, well, that place is for my God. You can take number 2, but he is the first. But if Ahab had said to Jezebel, I said, no, we're going to marry. But you see, I have an obligation and I have a commandment from God to raise my house in the way of the Lord. He didn't establish a standard. He did not raise a boundary. He fell. He fell out of faith. His end was worse because he allowed Jezebel to set up the worship of Baal all over the land. A weak leader sacrificed his being on the altar of relationship. Boundary is necessary. It is not for men. It is not what you say to your children that becomes the lesson they learn. It is the attitude and your behavior that they will learn more than what you say. I'm saying this. Can some children go haywire? Yes, they will go, but let them go. They've been anchored. They will come back. Because you lay the principles. When I was growing up in the northern part of Nigeria, the wind was so, they call it ham at time. It tears, you see, it tears your skin, it tears your feet. The cold is so intense. It's the opposite of snow. It is as cold as snow, but it has been sucked out of all the waters. No ice, but wind, dry wind. But our father will wake us up at 6 o'clock. I hated it, to pray. That's when you really want to turn around and cover again, and then they're waking you up to come pray. I did not like it. All right. When I grew up, I started to do the same thing. Did they like it? That doesn't matter to me. You need to pray. I established it so much that one day, in the basement we have a little worship center. We have drums. And one day there was a case where somebody wanted to jump my children, and my first child decided to be the sacrificial lamb. He didn't cause the problem, but you say, okay, they're coming, so I'll just stand there. And then the younger, Mary ran to me and said, oh, and it was close to the house. Boss just dropped them off. And we were just, for some reason, we were outside of the house and said, they're about to fight. There's a big fight going on. And we ran there just like a few yards. And if you see these guys, they have all the tattoo. There's the bandana group. You know those. And we had to intervene. But it was not, you, as a father, you can't be happy for that kind of a situation. So we left. Went straight down to the basement, and we went to worship. Within the next day, they rusticated that guy. It is not what you say to your children. It is the principle you lay down that they will catch. In their own houses now, they do the same. What I didn't like, what they obviously didn't like, and now they're doing it to their children. Because one day I was on the phone with Michael, and he was about to drop a Christian at the school, and I said, oh, that means, Father, release praise, and I go, bless your child. It's not what you say. If you say it, you see, what are cheap. As a father, it's your responsibility to lay the principle that you have received, and the whole ascensoral instruction, you don't move it. Teach it to your children. What happened to Rehoboam? What you have received by grace, You now turn it to become by effort. He received a prophetic word that the Lord is splitting the kingdom and is giving you 10 parts. And then you that has to be the custodian of God's law and instruction to lay the principle that they will follow. Jeroboam decided to, if I let them go back to be worshiping Jerusalem, maybe their hearts might turn. Did the Lord give to you? He set up an altar here and one in Beersheba and said, this is where you worship. Because if they should go, they will now turn their hearts over. And then he failed. And then people will come with a little gallon of oil and a little money, and you make them priests. Deviated from the line and instruction of God. And it failed. Now, if the woman will not marry you because you can't compromise your God, maybe she's not for you. If the woman will come into your house and set the pace how your family should run outside of God's purpose or will, it has to be according to. God will bring you one that will join hands with you to pull up the things of God. But if she's coming to change you away from it's said to a lot of kings of Judah and Israel, do not forget when your horses multiply or your chariots increase, so that you won't turn your head, you'll have a swelling head and turn away from God. It's to perdition. For if you are old enough to sin, you are old enough to die, and you are old enough to believe, repent, it's a choice. And for the women, the principle is clear. I won't compromise the teaching of who my God is to fit into a man's agenda. I have a case that we treated way back. This lady, while was in college, the boyfriend will go to her on the campus and whip her with belt. People come to me for so many times. I've been doing marriage counseling for 28 years now. They come to me so many times, they say that my husband changed. The man did not change. It is the veil that just fell off. Behind the veil is still the same man. You see, something blindfolded you. And that's why you didn't see, because the warning signs were there. When you start to punch the wall and making a hole on the wall, it's your head that is going to be punching. The hole is going to be your head next tomorrow. But the law makes you not to see. It kills your reasoning capacity. And then when he starts to become himself like he used to, like who he is, you say, the man changed. He didn't change. His veil fall off. And then you see him for who he is. If you love me, you will let me have my way. And he said, if you love me so much, you will wait. Don't you know that when the woman hold on to that, it makes, we are conquerors and we are visual. And when they struggle and they can't, now it will now say, for truly and certainly, this is the material I would like to marry. Because it ain't. You need to lay the principle, and you do not have to conform. Now you want to get into business relationship with someone. I'll tell you a story of a lady way back in Nigeria that she owns a travel agency and they want to expand. So she went into business partnership with another man that was not a Christian. And she said to this man, he said, you see, I would like us to take 10% of the business profit. 10% of the business profit and put it in church for tithe. The man said, oh, no, that's a waste of money. That's my accounting system. We're not going to go. I said, well, you know what? And she's got a lot to bring into to the table. He said, well, we won't be able to work together. He said, well, let's try for 6 months. 6 months, business started to expand. And she's the one, he now is the one that says, let's keep it that way. When you go into business, you need the grace of God to be able to be discerning of who this partner is. You know, when you sign the paper and you get to business, and Michael was in business with somebody in High Noon. Some of you have been there for the first restaurant they opened up. His brother is a pastor. Michael's father is a pastor, and they believe that Michael was suggesting something. Let's get the tithe of the profits. Let's make a tenth of our profit and split it in two. You put this in your brother's house. I put this. The guy didn't allow it. I am not saying that in all business take 10%. It's for the wise. It's not for the tight-fitted ones. So if you don't understand it, keep it. God is doing what he's doing. Man is not going to be part of it. But so this guy refused. Up till now, they're still going back and forth to court because the business, when Michael took his hand off and signed over to the guy, the business crashed. The business crashed. And all the money, all the COVID thing, all that, so they continue to still drag Michael along, but the paper of release has been signed where every money that the guy made, he ate it, so Michael is justified, but they still, because the lawyer that was fighting the case died, and that was Michael's lawyer passed, and so everything was, but at the end of the day, everything was settled the way it's supposed to be. You don't just go into business because you see the surface. Seek God for discerning to be able to know who this person is. And women, check God. And if I'm saying women, you'll be thinking that you are the vulnerable. No. Men are more vulnerable sometimes. Because the man stands as the symbol. What is it about DNA? It's not all about the man to know how. And when the woman come and twist him, and you need to be careful. That is why I say do not conform, but be transformed. Don't sacrifice all that you have because of what you see on the surface. Dig deeper. You see, you can see something like picture. Have you seen any bad picture? Picture of somebody smiling. I took some pictures this morning. But that image that you see, well-dressed and all that, what if they do the X-ray? Is it not some form of picture? What if they now do MRI? Is it a kind of picture? So when you're looking at people on the surface, you're not seeing the X-ray, you're not seeing the MRI. Ask the Holy Spirit to give you spiritual discernment, to see him MRI. To know that whether it's he or should we be waiting for another one. The most significant compromises were in the realm of religion when he allowed Jezebel to build altar, and that caused the end of Ahab. Solomon, as wise as he was, the wisest man on earth, right? The Lord anointed and appointed him even before he was born. He said, I know it's your son, Solomon, that will build it. So when we started, there was this argument that what happened to Absalom? What happened to Adonijah? Isn't this Solomon that was the daughter of an adulterer or something? God picked him. Huh? God picked him. And God went to him. Sometimes you'll be confused. This is Bible scholars. Why should he be Solomon when David went to Uriah's wife and but God went to him and said that, what is it that you want? And the Lord said, since you didn't ask for more money, you didn't ask for fame, you didn't ask for women, I will add all this to you, but you will be wise as in there, okay? It got to a point, he started to compromise as the custodian of God's law principle to teach to the younger generation to follow the things of God. He deviated. He compromised, sacrificed his relationship with God at the altar of these other women, and they now erected shrine all over the temple, all over the palace, and all over Israel. Grievous. A boundary becomes so necessary. For if you don't have the boundary, you don't have strength. There's a pastor here that I know. It's a friend. He said, I never ask my children not to go out to party. They go to party all they want. But 6 o'clock in my house, there must be prayer call. If you like, come back at 4. You must be at the prayer. Now your friends can pass the night here, but every breathing soul under my roof must be at the prayer. I see. That's a boundary. So once they go to party, they know that if you are not somebody that can sleep and wake up, boom, in 2 hours, you better come back early to have enough sleep, because 6 o'clock you must be at prayer. And after the prayer, you want to go back to do the wind down of your party. This is prayer. That's the standard. That's the standard. See what the Lord said concerning man holding the responsible position and laying the principle of God. He said it in Genesis 18. I will read that. I will close with that. Genesis 18, verse 17. The Lord described Abraham as his friend. And he said that, and 17 said, and the Lord said, shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do? Abraham will surely become a great and powerful nation, and through him all the nations of the earth will be blessed. Here now. For I have chosen him, that is verse 19, so that he will command his children and his household after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing what is right and just, in order that the promise of the Lord may be. See, this is the point. Don't be like Eli. What they talk about you guys is not good. I see you guys, you are doing this thing. You won't let them burn the fire to God. You are harassing the women that come to the. He didn't command. He didn't enforce. And he was destroyed for it. You know the end of the tingling voice, right? So when with the things of God, you must stand firm and make sure. If you can't control your children, you are not fit to lead the house of God. And that is why we were talking about being a woman, being a husband of one wife. He that can control his household. For he that can't control his household, how can he rule in the house? Is that am I out of myself right now? Am I speaking Bible? Oh no, people are quiet now. So God picked Abraham because there's something in Abraham that he will command his children and household to follow the way of the Lord. You cannot do that in any other way. I will deal straight with the children, and they tell me, they know that I'll say, hey, he's too firm. At the end of the day, it's not because of my children are too tall. I don't want them to be upset with me. Yeah, be upset over and over. Get upset and get over it, and be upset and get over it, because I will stand before God at the end of the day. Not before mine. Not before the face of my child that I don't want to offend. Not because the child is the one that feeds me. I thank God Almighty. I still feed myself. And I won't be able to say the word of God. I will stand before God at the end of the day. And so will be you. When you don't put your house in order as a man, and you allow every other thing to see. The fact that you put a boundary in place does not mean they won't transgress against it. When I wanted to start a ministry called Well of Restoration way back, and what I wanted to do is to get some young boys that's just rascally, a little weed, a little something, and instead of them being straightened and, it's something that would deserve just a slap on the back of the hand, they throw them in jail because the jail system want to fill the jail so that they can have contractors to come and be gleaning from them. Instead of taking correction, they're sending them into jail. I say I want to get them, and I want to take them to Nigeria, and I have some groups there, so that when they go in there, they will experience what is called cultural shock. They will kill you because of Nike shoe. But right there, their counterparts are begging for toothpaste to brush. The lights are not running like it should, but your light is running, water is running, and you feel like you are. You see, one thing is that Nigerian kids, African kids are poor. American kids are poor in the spirit. They don't understand, they can't appreciate. Your mother is paying the electricity, the water is running every time, and you are still going to Walmart to kill somebody because he has the latest Nike. Is that life? The rest of them, they put kerosene in the lantern to read overnight. You have fluorescent, you have air condition, you won't. So we purchased some land. We got about 24 acres of land for the ministry. And then all of a sudden, they said that the Lord said I should come start church. I told my brother, I said, no. But the hand of God was too heavy on me. My children had the whole discussion when the Lord dealt with me, and I won't go into that detail. And I called them and said, hey, we're starting church. They were trying to say, keep your mouth, because you see, you will suffer like I suffer if you don't just give right quickly. So people now start to, they encroach into the 24 acres all the way that we have about 9 acres. And I was so upset. I said, throw it away. I don't think I'm. Well, then they start to investigate. Then they try to get some more. If you put your pillar that is so low, not noticeable, they will walk over it. Make it big. Make it like. So now the pillar is this high, and they put one that slant this way, one that slant. So this is the boundary. But when you put it, and it's so firm like that, your principle of things of God, you don't compromise with it. Despite it, enemy will still want to encroach. So you're going to contend and going to be firm. You see my point? You've been called to establish boundaries so that you can have peace and your integrity can be intact. The boundary is not just the land, it's your call. And the one that has been assigned to you. Don't let the ministry go because of foolish excuses. Contend, because you need to hold the fort. Hold the fort, for I am coming.
Jesus, sing now, sing.
Let the answer back to heaven. By your grace we will. Hold the fort.
Hold the fort, for I am coming.
Oh, Jesus, lead us still. Let the answer back to heaven. By your grace we will. Hold the fort.
Hold the fort, for I am coming. Jesus, sing us still. Wave the answer back to heaven. By thy grace we will.
The war's been concluded. Victory's been established. You are to hold the fort. Stand firm on the principle that was laid down from generation. Don't let yourself be the weak link that will allow the things of Urabos to fall by your standard under your watch. Hold the fort. Don't touch the ancient boundaries. That which has stood the test of time, uphold it. Be the one that will establish it in your house.
By thy grace we will.
This is a summary. I have 10 pages. I stop at page 4. And I don't think I want to run a series. I'm going to be bringing the rest later on as we minister. If you're here today, and you say, when there's a way that you feel you've been lacking in your responsibility as a wife, as a husband. During Mother's Day, we preached about the virtuous woman, and we saw the characteristics that it is doable. You can be a virtuous woman. You can. If there's any way you've been lacking, laying principle worthy of emulation, living a standard of life that people can glean from, so he said a time will come when they won't